Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 1st of June. All right, now as we go through, come out of Friday's trading, the US equity market, I guess, one of the first things you should be looking at to see what's coming out of that, and it's pretty neutral, right? So there's no major changes there. That tells me there's no pressure points in the equity market at the moment. It's just back to normal sort of conditions. But I've got to say the move in the currencies has been far from normal, and got caught out on sterling. If I can just change the screen here, most of the pairs, right, have started to trend, right? They're trending higher, but what we are seeing is some pretty wild price action, especially sitting out on sterling. I'll just focus on that. I was looking for a breakthrough on sterling to the top side, as Euro, sort of Aussie and Kiwi had already sort of set that upward move in motion. Sterling was playing catch up, but check out the price action here. It was quite brutal. Kicked in on the first one, kicked out as it dropped below the figure, then up 100, down 100, sort of back up 70 or 80 and back to where it was. This was that's as nasty as you're going to get, right? And I was actually quite dumbfounded when I woke up Saturday, saw the high was 123.90 odd, and couldn't work out why I'd lost money. But obviously that huge flush out going through these trend lines was very nasty. So it's come out back to the sort of drawing board, waiting for these opportunities where momentum sort of starts to build again, and revising your trend lines is the key to this. So now there's no major change. Kiwi sort of just drifting through that sort of trend line there. Euro still up. I would expect sterling to still continue up higher, but we just have to wait at this point. And if anything, you're just simply redrawing your trend lines to the current markets, okay, where they finished Friday, using those highs and lows as to redraw your trend lines. Now, this high up, there's not many resistance levels on the top side in sterling, okay? That's one of the reasons why I thought it would scream to the top side, especially up towards 124 in that first run. We didn't get it, but I'll use that now as the starting point for my resistance for this week, and see what we can make out of that. To me, it's still ready to go top side. Dollar yen, massive flush out on the downside, and a little bit of a pop top side, and then back to where it was. This is problematic and a very good sign of what's happening. And it's all geopolitical. That's why we're getting these massive shoots left and right. Now, obviously, the news is a big factor here. Coming back to we've got the riots, or huge amount of protests in the US. This is something that they will have to obviously deal with. The Donald, I did hear one tweet that I did hear the Donald sort of talking about once the looting starts, the shooting will start. So that's pretty heavy coming from the president. But you're going to have to give this a couple of days. I don't know, if this was a long ongoing thing, well, then we may see the equity markets take a bit of an impact, but at the moment it's a short-term thing. It's just a distraction that I'm sure Donald is enjoying. And then you've also got all these US-China sanctions, right? So that seems to be building. The Donald, as some of these articles will say, sort of coming back to China and saying, well, if you're going to put these new security laws on Hong Kong, we're going to increase your tariffs. So it's sort of unprecedented. There's no plan to that. He's got to be in his bonnet about the whole thing. Whether that's right or wrong, it's not up to me to judge. But what we're looking for is some sort of consistency where momentum is coming from. And at the moment, there's not only the COVID-related geopolitical events, there's also obviously the battle building between US and China. Once again, the two big economic powerhouses. Hong Kong's in amongst it, and then you've got the riots in the US. So, you know what? Today, I'll be licking my wounds, taking the medicine, and just sort of waiting for the currencies to come back into play. Right? You can't push the currencies into giving you these opportunities now. The dollar index, it is sort of cruising to the downside. And that's probably more likely just replicating the euro, which is cruising to the top side. Dollar one, well, if you're trading that, it's a bit of a tough one as momentum comes and goes out of the various news articles. Starting the week, major pairs, well, they're all looking pretty good. Okay, pretty uniform, good trading conditions. Euro, sterling, Aussie, Kiwi slowly moving to the top side, and the dollar pairs down. To me, that's pretty good normal trading conditions. Dollar yen, the odd one out there. So the market has opened, no major gaps, looks all good. But you know what? I want a bit more than that to put my cash into it. So I'm waiting for the weekend news to get factored in, and then we'll see where to go from there. All right, guys, have a good trade day. If you are trading, take it easy. Cheerio.